Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how I go about creating 80s stab/brass sounds on different synths. First, here are some of my favorites that I've made for the VST Legend, Diva, MS-20, and these sound like this. We start with the Legend. Then we have the MS-20. And the Diva. Then we have my hardware synth, the MKS-80. It sounds like this. And then my JX8P hardware synth. So, there we are. Different stab or brass sounds that I use in my songs. Making an 80s stab or brass sound is not that difficult. You need a synth that has at least 2 oscillators or more. It all comes down to, in my opinion, to stacking several oscillators on top of each other using only sawtooth waveforms. You can make a pretty decent brass sound on a Juno 60 even, that has only 1 oscillator. But then you have to use the built-in chorus to make it sound good, in my opinion. So, if we take a look, for example, at the free PG-8X VST synth here. It's an emulation of, an almost spot-on emulation, in my opinion, of the JX8P that you heard me play before. And first we will choose sawtooth wave for the 2 oscillators, and then detune them slightly. You will see what I mean here. The fine-tuning we increase here. Then we take the filter cutoff and envelope and place them in the middle. And then we adjust the filter envelope down here, the envelope 1, and we increase the attack, or the attack gets a bit slower, and we lower the sustain, and we fiddle around with the decay time. You will see what I mean. Something like that. Then we go and choose the unison mode, and what this does is that we get, instead of 2 oscillators per voice or per note, we get 4 oscillators per voice or note. So we choose this and then adjust the unison detune a bit, maybe. Let's start with something like this. Instantly it gets bigger or fatter. Something like that. Now we have a pretty good brass sound, in my opinion. If we compare that to the Diva, for example, here, I find that the Diva is slightly bigger sounding, and that's because on the Diva we have more stacking of voices here, so it gets even bigger. Here is the PG-8X again. Now we can fiddle around with the filter envelope, how much it works, or I don't think you say it like that in English, but I hope you get what I mean. Alright, something like that. We can even, on the PG-8X, we can even use some cross modulation if we choose the cross mod 3 here. It changes the sound a bit. To get the even fuller sound. Then it all depends on how well this sound in a mix. So you almost always have to adjust the sound that you've programmed when you put it in a song, because it depends on all the other instruments that you use. And then of course you can use effects to reverb and delay and chorus to make it sound better. We could use chorus here on this sound if we want to. Instantly it gets wider. Sometimes that's what you prefer, but not always. And chorus 2 here. I prefer this actually, and I would use delay and reverb to widen the sound instead. Okay, we move on to the synth1 plugin. That is also a free plugin. This is a free plugin. It's excellent, I think. The PG-8X, you can find it online. And even the synth1 is a free plugin. So here we have the synth1. Really boring sound at the moment. You see here the mix here. We only listen to one oscillator, the first oscillator here, and it's a square wave that we use. So we changed that to sawtooth, and the other oscillator here is already a sawtooth. It sounds like this. If we put it in the middle, it sounds quite odd because now they are totally in tune. So we need to detune them a bit, and it gets a bit wider all of a sudden, as you can hear. And we can also use the sub oscillator. If we place that in the same octave as the other two oscillators, we can use this to fatten up the sound even more. And we choose sawtooth on these two, and we maybe increase the volume here, and it gets a bit fatter still. And then we move on to the frequency, the filter and the amplifier. Maybe a little bit sharper attack, perhaps, and we adjust the filter envelope like if we have a slower attack here, and the amount of the filter will lower that a bit. Something like that, I think, sounds pretty good. And here we also use the unison mode, so that we get more voices, and we can increase the voices to 32, so that we can play many notes at a time. Because when you stack voices, when we have two here, we only have 16 notes that we can play at the same time. And now it sounds a bit too detuned for my ears, at least. Maybe in a modern song this would be preferable, but not for me. So I will adjust this a bit. This I think sounds better. And we can, in synth1, we can spread the oscillators so that the sound gets wider. You hear the difference, I think. We can even, well, we can use even more unison. So here we have a pretty nice brass sound. If we compare the different brass sounds again, maybe the Legend brass sound. This is not as fat as you hear, and that's because the Legend is it's an emulation of the Minimoog, which is a monophonic synth, but we have we can make this a polyphonic synth, which I have done here by choosing poly. And then we have 3 oscillators per voice, which is gets pretty fat, but maybe not enough. But that's what do you like for the moment, and what fits in your song. The MS-20 here is quite wide, and that's because you see here we have 32 notes poly, but we have 8 unison, so that makes it quite fat. And the Diva, yeah, we saw that before, I think. And the MKS-80, which you can't see because it's my hardware synth. And the JX-AP. And now the PG-8X, the sound we made before. And the synth1. Besides playing stabs or chords, I should say, you can use this and make an arpeggiated sound. If we put on the arpeggiator here, maybe. Then maybe you don't. Perhaps you want this sound as wide as when we play the chords, but maybe not. So if we take away the unison, this might sound better in the mix. We can adjust the envelope here. Maybe change the filter to a low pass 12 dB filter. And even here we can use the sub oscillator as it was intended, with 1 octave down. We use the gate here, it's quite interesting. Then it adjusts the envelope. Okay, there you have it. I hope you found this helpful for you, so that you can make your own great synth brass 80s stab sounds.